you everybody for turning up this morning on this lovely morning. The sun's shining on the 30th of April 1941 in the pitch black, as you'll hear from David in a few minutes. There was this crash here, which David will tell you about. But I'd like to first just welcome you all. Thank you for coming to this memorial, which is very important to remember those who were killed, as you appreciate. Especially thank you to the family of some of the crew that are here today. And I'm sure you'll meet them afterwards. But John Clark in particular, the grandson of Charles Clark, the front gunner who was killed. So and his family, members of the family there, and Arthur, special welcome to them who's travelled down. It's lovely for you to be here. Thank you. Welcome to the Air Training Corps 2442 Squadron from Westbury-on-Chin. They were here for the ceremony when we unveiled the memorial in 2009. Without further ado, I will ask David, the local historian here and co-founder of this memorial, to say a few words and set the scene of that night.
Thank you, Jenny.
David.
Good morning, everybody, school students and local residents and those from Sheffield and farther afield. Thank you for coming. It's not quite 365 days, is it? Because it's 364 and 23 hours, because the crash actually took place at 10 o'clock at night in the dark, and it came between those houses. I can't remember the name of that street now. That was a street. Norfolk Avenue.
That's a test.
It was Norfolk Avenue. John was saying he's measured the street width and he's measured the aeroplane width, and it's too wide, the aeroplane, so we think it must have come in like this to get up the street. And of course hit the top of the tree, skied around, broke off in the middle, and the rest of it came up to about here, and where it burst into flames, and fuel was flowing down the road, a light down here. So it was an amazing scene for people looking out the window. But of course there were 6 crew, and local people rushed out to help. And my probably favourite story is the man who lived in Leopold Road, I think in Martin's house, who was in his slippers, and he rushed over to help to the front of the plane, and just over there was where the barrage room was, which was asphalt, and it was hot and it melted his slippers, and he carried on and he went home, and I met his wife, and she said he would never ever talk about it. It was so traumatic experience. After we finished, we're just going to go across the road here to number 7 Melita Road, where a family were killed in the war by a bomb landed on their house, and a 6-year-old was killed, and we believe the 6-year-old may have come from Sefton Park School. We can't prove it, but we think so. So if you'd like to join us, we're just going to go over to the house, just to stand outside for a minute and remember 3 local people who died in the war.
We have 2 young ladies from Sefton Park School who will be laying on behalf of the Friends of St Andrews Park the poppy wreath here. But thank you, David, for that brief history. And I invite any others who would like to step forward. Arthur, would you like to lay a cross on behalf of the crew and your family? I have a wreath on behalf of the local community in remembrance of the crash and those who were killed at number 7 Melita Road on the 8th of May 1941, a week later, in remembrance of the local community, and this is laid on behalf of the Friends of St Andrews Park. Anybody else who'd like to come forward and lay flowers? I know for you. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
We now have a few moments silence, after which we will read the names out of those who sadly died 75 years ago. We remember Pilot Officer Kenneth Evans, Sergeant Charles Clark, Sergeant Thomas Lever, and a week later the following local people were killed by enemy action: Albert Ernest Barnes, Phyllis Eliza Barnes, Hilda Audrey Barnes, all residing at 7 Melita Road. May they rest in peace. We also remember the crew of the aeroplane who were rescued by local people: Sergeant Lawrence Houghton, Sergeant John Holmes, Sergeant Richard Wish. And we remember too those people who rushed into the burning aircraft or who offered assistance on the ground: Betty and Martin Bowles, David Best, William Dowler, Sergeant George Goodall, Alfred Rowlands, Frederick Spray, Basil Stirrett, and PC Bruce Westlake. And also the local first aiders: Margaret Davis, Dr. Heron, and the Red Cross nurse Daisy Voice. And without all these people running out to help, many more lives could have been lost. And I don't think any of us here can possibly imagine what it must have been like 75 years ago, and just what those people must have felt. But what we do know is that they fearlessly ran out to do what they could do with compassion and kindness. And nor can we imagine what must have gone on in the minds of the crew who were in the plane, to have to make a split decision to find somewhere where they could land without hitting any houses and thereby causing more deaths. Must have been a momentous one and extremely brave. And I wonder if we could finish in silence for a few moments, after which I will read a short poem. They did not die in battle's din of world renown or medal win, but they died for you and me, and so that the whole world might be free.
Thank you, Paul. Yes?
May I just say something about PC Westlake? You heard his name. Excuse me if it brings me to tears. He was 18 years old and he was based in the police station down Somerville Road, and he ran up here and he climbed onto the wing here and helped rescue one of the crew. He left the police force in 1947 and was driving home from Bath when he had a puncture and changed his wheel, and he was hit by a car and killed. And that night his daughter was born. Sorry, I always find this so emotional. But the great thing was, we found that daughter, and she flew from Australia, and she's been here. But I would like to remember PC Westlake. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Yes. So this is local events on our very doorstep for those who live around and in the community. And I'm sure it's a very fitting memorial and remembrance that we do remember not only the crew and the local people, but the family, the young family that were killed by incendiary bombs in Melita Road as well. That's again local history. But it's all about our community and keeping together and remembering as generations go on to pass on the stories and remember them with respect and gratitude and thanks. And thank you all for making the effort to turn up today and take this period of remembrance.
This is 7 Melita Road that we're looking at the moment, where we think an incendiary bomb landed and probably collapsed the ceilings, killing the family. That's just a typical 1890, 1900 Pennant stone constructed house. St Andrews and this area wasn't a real target, of course, but anything going up to Filton who wanted to go home early, dropped their bombs and went home, or missed the target altogether. But it was the incendiaries that did the damage, like the library in Cheltenham Road was burnt down by incendiary bombs. They dropped them by the 1,000. And they were a bit nasty because if you threw water on them, they exploded more. You had to put a fine drizzle over them or throw a sandbag over them.